Hi PEZ collectors, I'm Erin, and today I have a video all about Spiderman PEZ dispensers. Now there's a lot of them, so we better get started. Let's roll that intro. My spidey senses told me that I should make this video because the No Way Home Spider-Man movie was just released to digital, and I just watched it and I'm all hyped about Spider-Man all over again. So I thought this would be a really great video to make, because if you're as hyped as me about Spider-Man, this Spiderman PEZ dispenser guide is going to help you a lot in your PEZ collecting. So just like my Batman PEZ video, and I talked about how Batman goes from A, Batman B, Batman C, Batman D, and so on. It's just like that for Spider-Man, so we're going to have Spider-Man A, B, C, D, E, F is where it ends. That'll help you determine the different variations of the dispenser, and that's not something I made up, that's something that exists in the PEZ world. It's just to help you categorize what Spider-Man is what. Let's swing right into it. We have a lot to cover today. First off, I have a Spiderman A PEZ dispenser, and it has removable eyes, and this one has no web on the back. I'm going to show some comparisons between no web on the back and removable eyes here in a few seconds. So I just want to show you real quick what we're looking at first, and then I'm going to break it down and show you the different variations. This Spiderman dispenser has no web on the back. See how it's just smooth? If you have a no web back Spider-Man head, that means it's just smooth. This is the most valuable Spider-Man PEZ dispenser that you can have in your collection. It's going to run you at least $200, if not more, unless you're just lucky and you find one on eBay or at a garage sale by someone that doesn't know to look for the no web back of the head. It is very easy to confuse this with the Spider-Man with the web on the back of its head, and let me show you the differences here. Here's a Spiderman A with removable eyes, but it has the web on the back of its head. The Spiderman PEZ on the left is the no web back Spider-Man, and the Spider-Man on the right has the web printed on the back. And as you can see, the no web Spider-Man has no copyright on it as well. Spiderman PEZ dispenser on the right has the copyright on its head. The no web Spider-Man head also comes with a copyright. So there's two different variations there. So there's the copyright, and then there's the no copyright with the smooth head. And then the one with the web on the back, it always just has the copyright on it. The one with the web here, it's gonna run you probably $15, $20. It is a more common PEZ dispenser. PEZ probably just made millions of these, or maybe they were just super popular to have Spider-Man. You'll find a lot of these on eBay. I bought a lot of these on eBay. Also, these are called removable eyes because they're not painted on. There's actually like a 3D effect to the eyes, which is really nice. Now I do have another Spiderman A with removable eyes PEZ dispenser, and that's because there's another variation here that I want to show you, and it runs throughout all of these. So if you have a no web back versus the web back, it's on both of them. If you hold the dispenser sideways like this, you'll notice that the lines on the head are different. Now there's one that has 7 lines, and then there's another one that has 9 lines, and you'll see the one with 9 lines has the line down at the bottom here in the cheek, and then the one with 7 lines has more open space in the cheek. That's the easiest way to tell the difference between the 7 and the 9 line Spider-Man head, is just look at the cheek. If it has the extra line, that's the 9. If it doesn't have the extra line, then that's the 7. Now, the Spider-Man with no web on the back, it also comes in a variation with the copyright on the back, but I don't have that one in my collection, so I'll put a picture here on the screen so you can get a good look at it and you'll know what to look for when you're out PEZ hunting. Maybe someday I'll be lucky and I'll be able to buy one and add it to my collection. I've just never have found one to buy, I guess. This is the only one that I've came across since I've known about the no back web Spider-Man that I was able to buy. So I'm just happy to have this one in my collection. These Spiderman A PEZ dispensers were released back in 1978, and then they also made the same dispensers, but they put feet on them. And here's a Spiderman A with the removable eyes with feet. There's also a variation with the Spider-Man with the feet, and that is the same as the no foot one, and that's the exact same here. Take a closer look at it. There's the one with the 7 lines on the head, and that one's on the left, and then there's the one with the 9 lines, and that one's on the right. And these both have the copyrights on the back. You can see on the back there as well that there's the web on the back of the head. Now, these are even more common. You can find these for, I don't know, like $1 or $2. They're not worth much, but they are really nice, I think, to add to your collection, even though the value isn't that great. I'm really liking these older Spider-Man PEZ dispensers more and more now that I'm looking at them. They're just so simple, and most of these here are ones that you can easily add to your collection without spending a lot of money, and then you can say, oh, I have some vintage PEZ with no fee. I do have the Spiderman A with removable eyes in packages, so let me show you those real quick before we move on to Spiderman B. The first one I want to share with you is the Spiderman A removable eyes on this card, and this has to be one of my favorite carded PEZ in my collection. I just really like it. I do have quite a few superheroes in these cards, so whenever I come across these older cards like this with superheroes in them, I usually try to buy them. Just have to be really careful with these older carded PEZ because they can easily pop off the cards. Over time the glue just kind of stops working, but this one seems like it's going to last forever, so let's cross our fingers. Here's a closer look at the back of this card. Peter PEZ says it's fun to fill PEZ puppets with delicious PEZ candy. I like how they call them PEZ puppets. This is pretty cool. Here on the bottom there's a little paper in there that says PEZ, you heard about it in E.T. And comment below if you know what PEZ dispenser was in the E.T. movie. I have to be really careful with this, but here is a Spiderman A with removable eyes, and this is how it came packaged in the cello package. Here's a Spiderman A with removable eyes in the newer packaging, and then here's one in the cello package. And when you see this, people call them bags, and then when you see these clear ones, people call them cellos. This is really nice, but you have to also be super careful with these because as the years go on, they get really brittle. And you just have to be careful that you don't pop a hole in it really easy. These bags seem a lot more durable. I think these will last a lot longer. Here's the back of the Spiderman A in the cello. It says watercolor paint set inside this package. Looks like there's little watercolor squares up here. I remember having those type of things when I was younger. This is a little too old for me, but not too far off. I am gonna put this back here. I have these in a little plastic box just so I don't break the cellos. I have a lot of my PEZ in cello bags in these little boxes. I think you can get these from like the Container Store, or maybe, I don't know, check Amazon or something. There's all kinds of like little display boxes you could put PEZ and cellos because you don't really want to touch them. You don't want to dust them or anything. You want to keep them as mint as you can because they get brittle really fast. I have another Spiderman A in cello here. Let's take it out and look at it. It's different. Oh gosh, I don't like touching these. Here's a Spiderman A in cello, and this one, see if I can turn it over. I'm being really careful with this one because this one, it just seems so soft. I don't know how to explain it. But look at the back on here. It says special bonus offer. See back for details. I just really love the old packaging, especially PEZ that come in these clear cellos. Besides older PEZ that you see on cards, the second best, at least in my opinion, are PEZ and cellos. I haven't taken these out in quite some time, so this is a special treat just for you. Now let's move forward in time to 1991, and that's when Spiderman B was released. Here's Spiderman B, and you'll notice that Spiderman B has feet. This one doesn't have removable eyes. The eyes are molded into plastic, so it's all one piece. They get the paint job done a lot better. The only paint on here are the eyes, but you can tell that it's done by a machine. These are probably hand painted on these Spiderman A's, so they're not usually exact. And the mold on the Spiderman B just looks a lot more modern. You can tell that the PEZ technology has come a long way between the Spiderman A's and the Spiderman B PEZ dispenser. I do have Spiderman B in bag. There you go, it comes in a green bag. Also comes in a blue bag. And there you go, an all red Spider-Man with an all red bag. I like it. Also have the PEZ International Spiderman B on card. And as you can see, there's no bubble. It's just shrink wrapped right to the card. And I like this one a lot. It has the all yellow background, and then the little PEZ candies are so colorful. I like the way it looks. And you'll see this card on other PEZ dispensers as well, not just Spider-Man. And here's the back of the card. There's not much going on there. A lot of blank space, actually. We're moving up to 1999, and that's when Spiderman C was released. Here's the Spiderman C PEZ dispenser. And look at how it actually comes on a blue stem. It's not just an all red color combination. It's pretty exciting. Also, the head on this Spiderman C is a lot larger. I'll show you a side-by-side comparison. Check out the size difference between the Spiderman C and the Spiderman B. And then also the Spiderman A, it might be the exact same size as Spiderman B, but just the look of these just changed so drastically that I like to compare them to each other. I do have it in some packages here. Here's a Spiderman C PEZ dispenser in a bag, the blue bag, and the red bag, and a green bag. And this one actually comes with cola candy. All of these Spiderman C PEZ dispensers, they all have cola candy in the package. Here's a Spiderman C PEZ dispenser on the Marvel Superheroes card. You'll find other Marvel superheroes on this card as well. Here's the back of it. There's a maze you can do. Looks pretty simple, but it's fun. Here's the PEZ International version of the Spiderman C on card. Check out this candy packages at the bottom there. It's a really nice card as well. The back of this card shows that this series comes with a Wolverine and a Hawk as well. If you're like, that's way too many Spiderman C PEZ dispensers, well, it also came with this stem color. Spiderman C PEZ dispenser comes on a red stem as well. And it should be the same exact PEZ dispenser as the blue stem. It's even more of a neon red. It's not even just like a red, because if you hold it up here, you'll notice that the red on all the other Spider-Mans are like a true red, and then the red on the Spiderman C PEZ dispenser is a neon red color. The Spiderman C with the red stem comes in bags as well. I have it here in a green bag. Here it is in a blue bag, and here it is in a red bag. The red stem Spiderman C also came on the Marvel Superheroes card. Back on here is the same. It has the maze on the back. Here's a PEZ International version of the Spiderman C with the red stem on card. This card is really sweet. I like it a lot. Here's the back of the card. It says check out PEZKidsClub.com on the back. I don't know what that is. If you know what the PEZ Kids Club is, comment down below and tell me what it is. I've never noticed that before. Now I kind of wonder what it is. Let's move a little bit farther forward to 2009, and that's when the Spiderman D PEZ dispenser was released. Here's the Spiderman D PEZ dispenser, and as you'll notice, they're sticking with the blue stem. The Spider-Man head just looks really sleek. I like it a lot. As far as I know, there's only one variation of Spiderman D. I don't have it in a bag, but here's Spiderman D on card. And it's the little short card. It has the 2 packs of candy in it. And there's the back of the card as well. We're almost done here. There's only 2 Spider-Man variations left. There's Spider-Man E. And here you go. Here's a Spider-Man E PEZ dispenser. And as you can see, it's on the blue stem. And it's the first variation with the PEZ bust. This is what you see more for superheroes nowadays. It has the bust, or I call it the torso sometimes. You see it more, I think, with the DC superheroes, but you also see it on some of the Marvel superheroes. But some of the Marvel superheroes, they still come with just a head and no bust. I do have the Spider-Man E on a card. This is the PEZ International card. There's the back of the card as well. I did notice that the front of the card says The Amazing Spider-Man, and that is the movie, the one with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. So I guess you could say that this is Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man PEZ dispenser. And this one does have a variation. Let me show you that one. Here's the same Spider-Man E PEZ dispenser, and it comes on a red stem. I like this one a whole lot better. It's just the all red. I usually like PEZ dispensers with like all one color. I think they're pretty neat. I believe that the all red Spider-Man E is the PEZ International release. I mean, these are PEZ International cards, but I couldn't find it on a PEZ USA card. So I think this one might have been just exclusive to PEZ International. All we have left is Spider-Man F, and Spider-Man F has 2 variations, and one of these are probably tied with my most favorite Spider-Man in all Spider-Man history. First off, here's the red head and the blue stem version. It has the web look printed on its head, which before the web on the head or the bust, it's just made with indentions or like carved in, I guess. But this one, it's just smooth and it has the web printed on it. It just looks really nice and more modernized as well. And this one was released in 2020 along with this other one here. Here's the Miles Morales Spider-Man F PEZ dispenser. And I'm calling these both F because they look exactly the same to me. I looked both of these Spider-Man F PEZ dispensers over really well, and I couldn't see any differences in them. The print of the web on them looks exactly the same, it's just different colors. So I'm just gonna call them both Spider-Man F just because of that. If you're wondering why the Spider-Man is a different color, and that's because it's based on the Miles Morales Spider-Man from the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie, which is probably one of my most favorite Spider-Man movies that exist. And I really like the Spider-Man a lot as well. All these other Spider-Mans are based on the Peter Parker Spider-Man, and that's why they're all just red or red and blue. That's just the generic Peter Parker Spider-Man. And if you know anything about Marvel, there's the whole Marvel universe, but the Marvel universe is broken up into the Multiverse. And if you've been watching any of the Marvel shows or movies over this past year, the Phase 4 Marvel movies or TV shows, you have learned more about the Multiverse and how there's different multiverses or dimensions of different characters from the different multiverses. So you could have one Peter Parker on this Earth, and then you could have another Peter Parker on another Earth, and they could have a lot of similarities, but there's also differences, and that's how Marvel breaks out their shows and their comics. That's why there's so many different characters of one character. So these are all different multiverse versions of Peter Parker Spider-Man, which is the main, probably most popular Spider-Man. And then here's the Miles Morales Spider-Man, and he's from his own Spider-Verse. If you've never watched Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, that movie itself will explain so much more about the multiverse, because it brings in like so many different Spider-Mans into that movie. If you don't know a lot about Spider-Man, you'll learn a lot about Spider-Man just from watching Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Just to throw it out there, I do have this PEZ card with the Spider-Man. It has Spider-Man and Hawk on it. I think this Spider-Man PEZ came on it, but of course it's one of those ones that the bubble just pops right off. But I did have that one in there sitting like this down in my bins. So I'm thinking that one came in there, but I didn't look it up, so it'll hold me to that. I just thought the card looked really nice and I wanted to share it with you. That's it for this Spider-Man PEZ video. Hopefully you learned something about Spider-Man PEZ. And if I missed something, or if there's something out there that exists that I don't have in my collection, let me know in the comments below, because I'd like to continue the Spider-Man PEZ conversation there. If you made it this far in the video and you're not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. Or you can just give me a thumbs up on this video. I'd really appreciate it. See you in the next video. Bye!
I write to you in poetry with words left on the shelf. Full of dust, you'll know it's me, and from no